my channel. I completed my solo Big Lab for motor neuron disease um, on the 22nd of May. I started out on April the 14th, and it took 38 days. Also, covering the 15,000 kilometers and 212 hours of driving time. Now, in this follow up, having completed the trip, remember on the trip I had just shown little snippets along the journey, and usually it's about 5 or so minutes. And but I've got a lot more material that I uh, captured in my camera, and I now what I'm going to do is to share with you some of that, and in four parts. In part one, the journey took me from Melbourne to Cairns. And so, in this particular upload, you'll be following my journey from Melbourne to Cairns. And in future videos, which probably will be about 45 minutes to an hour, and part two will be from Cairns to Broome, and that is from here all the way up to Broome here, and then from Broome to Perth, and then finally from Perth all the way down Esperance, Norseman, the Nullarbor, and then Port Augusta, Adelaide, and then Warrnambool, and back to Melbourne. So it has taken me a bit longer because since my return, there have been many distractions, but slowly but surely, I will get around to getting all these four-part uh, series up and running in the coming weeks.
Hello. Welcome to my channel called The Big Lap for Motor Neuron Disease. I am a retired professor of neuroscience. I am a father to 3 daughters and grandfather to 7 grandchildren. My lovely wife, Ranjit, and I have been married for 47 years. Although reluctant at first, my wife gave her blessing and support for me to undertake this expedition. My children and grandchildren are enthusiastic supporters. I embarked on a road trip of approximately 15,000 kilometers along Highway Number 1 on the 14th of April. This journey took 38 days to complete. I undertook this trip to focus on motor neuron disease and raising funds for the Motor Neuron Disease Association of Victoria. This organization does exceptional work in caring for people living with motor neuron disease. Now I will give you a little background of my scientific research and association with MND Victoria.
This photo was taken in 1998. At that time, I was a professor and head of the Motor Neuron Disease Laboratory in Monash University. Note the little mouse on my shoulder. It is the G93A SOD1 mouse model of motor neuron disease. Our laboratory was the first to import this model into Australia. It is used extensively in motor neuron disease research to study the mechanisms underlying the disease. Most importantly, this animal model of motor neuron disease is used extensively to screen for potential therapies in humans. This picture was taken with Jackie at a MND luncheon group meeting in Birchip, Victoria. As a volunteer with MND Victoria, I used to travel to country towns to discuss motor neuron disease research. This photo was taken with the late Judith Durham of the Seekers promoting MND awareness. For my volunteer services to the Motor Neuron Disease Association of Victoria, I was awarded the Nina Buscombe Award in the years 2000 and 2002. Awarded a Certificate of Appreciation in 2001, signed by the Honourable Steve Bracks, former Premier of Victoria. In 1997, I received an award from the Bethlehem Griffiths Research Foundation for medical research into motor neuron disease.
We are going to cover all these areas shown in green. In other words, from Melbourne all the way to Cairns, and this will be the part one of the Melbourne to
Blessings were said at the Blackburn Sikh Temple in Melbourne. After this the journey commenced as I headed towards Lakes Entrance and Bega. Here you can see my team of supporters who showed up at 6:45 a.m. From left to right are Nash, Satnam, my wife Ranjit, yours truly, Manjit Sidhu, Shindi, and Chanchol. Manjit Sidhu, Shindi, and Chanchol. In this picture, my wife is presenting to me her blessings as well as a mascot to keep me company. You can see the motor neuron disease logo on the car.
This is the first break for coffee. I'm at Lakes Entrance, going to take a lunch break here. Going for a bit of walk, and I decided to have this for lunch. It's day one, and we're just entering New South Wales on the way to Eden, where I'll spend the first night. And here you can see the taking a brief stop at Cairns River on the way to Eden.
The focus will be on the road. I do take regular rest breaks approximately every hour. I left just before 7 a.m. All was good until I reached the Bega turn-off. At that point, I thought I should check if I had my iPad with me. Pulled the car over, went through every bag, and you guessed it, no iPad. It's then that I realized that I had left it in the motel room. The motel was owned by Punjabis, and I called them to check my room, and yes, my purple iPad was on the couch under a pillow. So I had to turn back and went back 70 kilometers to retrieve my iPad. This 140 kilometers round trip delayed my trip to Sydney by 2 hours. The distance from Eden to Sydney is 550 kilometers, but with the wasted 140 kilometers, I ended up doing almost 700 kilometers. After almost 11 hours, I reached Manjit and Sajit's house in Sydney.
In this video, Hayden is placing the Big Lap 4 MND logo on the car door. This gift is most appreciated.
Enjoying the hospitality provided by Manjit and Sajit Gill. A special thanks to Jaswinder who joined us for dinner and gave his support for this journey. Here I am standing in front of the Parkli Sikh temple, also known as the Gurdwara. Is the Sikh place of worship, prayer and meditation. Also shown is the inside of the Sikh temple where our holy book is kept.
This picture shows Manjit and I having langar at the Parkli Gurdwara. Langar is made in a communal kitchen run by a Sikh community and serving free food to all regardless of caste, creed or religion.
Sydney to Woolgoolga. I left Manjit's place near Hornsby at 7 a.m. Again, a big thank you to Manjit and Sarjit for giving me 2 nights accommodation. The chance to rest for a day was absolutely wonderful.
The first stop was at the Beresfield Gurdwara. This will be one of many smaller Gurdwaras that are open, but no one was around. So I did my matha take and continued on with my journey heading to Taree.
ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई नींव रखाई.
The next stop was Woolgoolga. Sikhs began to settle in Woolgoolga during World War II, because wartime labour shortages led to a relaxation of the previous prohibition of non-European labour in the banana industry. After the war they were able to acquire leasehold and freehold banana plantations. Woolgoolga had the largest regional Sikh Punjabi population in Australia, 5, and they are now said to own 90% of the banana farms and are also diversifying into blueberries. Well known for providing bananas and other fruits to Sikh temples and major Sikh events. Here are some bananas and guavas served at the temple. I met a famous personality in Woolgoolga. Sardar John Joravar Arkon. His grandfather came to Australia in 1885. John was the first Sikh elected to local council 13 years ago. He also served as deputy mayor of Woolgoolga for 1 year. It was a pleasure to meet him.
Last night I stayed at this motel at Coffs Harbour. I initially went to Woolgoolga, but there was no accommodation available there, so I had to loop back to Coffs Harbour to stay at this motel.
Morning walk in Coffs Harbour before heading out to Brisbane.
ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई नींव रखाई. ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई, इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई, नींव रखाई। ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर, ताते अंग दे अंग संग पयो सायर, इन शब्द सूरत की नींव रखाई।
हुल्ले हुल्ले साजना धीरे धीरे बालना
I'm giving a thumbs up as I'm getting ready to leave for Noosa. In the photograph, you can see I'm posing with the Gill family in Brisbane. From my left to right is Amardeep, myself, Navdeep, Bob, and Kamal. This clip, you can see Kamal in her garden, admiring the beautiful papayas that she has grown. One of the problems is apparently fruit bats try to eat them, creating a big problem. But Kamal certainly has green fingers and has a beautiful garden. Navdeep does professional videography for promoting food products, and today I was lucky to taste some of the yummy food that she was promoting. While I was in Brisbane, I made a visit to Bridgeman Downs to visit Jasjot and Satnam. They both have been generous sponsors for my trip. In this episode, I'm leaving Brisbane and heading towards the Sunshine Coast. And I went there to catch up with my good friend Linton and also Julie. And it was an interesting day because it rained like crazy, and also Linton had planned this particular festival up that way. It's called the Body Art Festival, which I've never been to before, so it's very interesting. So I hope you enjoy this particular episode, which was spent in and around the Sunshine Coast. The journey from Brisbane to Noosa was a relatively short one. It took about 2 hours, covering about 150 kilometers, going through places like Caboolture, Caloundra, Sunshine Coast, and then on to Noosa. 2nd of April. I spent a couple of days with my close friend Linton in Noosa and had a chance to rest a little bit more, and also managed to do my first set of laundry. And kindly enough, Linton allowed me to use the washing machine in the apartment. And the apartment is where his partner Julie stays, and she was away in Bundaberg. And in today's video, I'll be swinging by in Bundaberg to say hi to her. So this video is in two parts, from Noosa to Bundaberg, and then from Bundaberg to Rockhampton. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you. Today is the 23rd of April, and today's journey will take me from Rockhampton to Mackay. The distance is approximately 336 kilometers and a driving time of around 4 hours. Today is the 23rd of April, and today's journey will take me from Rockhampton to Mackay.
हुल्ले हुल्ले साजना धीरे धीरे बालना ए ओ हो जरा हुल्ले हुल्ले चलो मोरे साजना हम भी पीछे हैं तुम्हारे जरा हुल्ले हुल्ले चलो मोरे साजना हम भी पीछे हैं तुम्हारे
I just stopped in Proserpine for a short coffee break, stretch the legs a bit. It's 8:40 a.m. The next town is Bowen, and from there I will be going to Townsville. This video will cover the trip from Townsville to Cairns. And this journey is around 350 kilometers and will take around 4 hours. So anyway, I was doing my first camping last night, and this morning, I had a bit of a unhappy experience with the camping. I found it very difficult, not only setting up the tent and all that, but it was just very uncomfortable, and did not enjoy and did not have a good night's sleep. So anyway, that was it for the night, and I was lucky enough to have met up with Tej, and I had a lovely dinner, and that was a very welcome respite from feeling unhappy about the camping situation. So I woke up in the morning thinking, okay, well, let me pack up, and lo and behold, the first negative was that I had a flat tire. Not only I had a flat tire, but it was on a public holiday. It was Anzac Day in Queensland, and everything was closed. But luckily, I was able to call the RACQ, and the gentleman came in and fixed the tire. But there's no way I could get the flat tire fixed. So I had to make a decision. Should I wait another day and get the tire fixed, or just risk it and just go without a spare tire to Cairns? Anyway, I decided to risk it and go towards Cairns and the next day get the tire fixed. Also, there were a lot of mosquitoes, in the campgrounds, and I got very badly bitten by the mosquitoes. So anyway, this segment is the trip from Townsville to Cairns, and it was a very interesting day. Yeah, thank you.
रामदास को मिली बड़ाई, मिली बड़ाई। अब गुरु रामदास को मिली बड़ाई, मिली बड़ाई। अब गुरु रामदास को सोडी श्रेष्ठ सकल तारण को, सोडी श्रेष्ठ सकल तारण को। अब गुरु रामदास को, अब गुरु रामदास को मिली बड़ाई, मिली बड़ाई। अब गुरु रामदास को नानक नाम निरंजन जानियो, नानक नाम निरंजन जानियो। किन्नी भगत प्रेम लिव।
So in Cairns was the second day that I tried to do some camping, and it proved to be very difficult for me. I already felt very uncomfortable in Townsville for a number of reasons, which I explained in the previous video. But once I got to Cairns, I went to a caravan park, parked my car, took out the tent, started putting it up, and I felt that same stressful situation. And I felt, look, I just can't do this camping business. It's too uncomfortable. I mean, if I had a little caravan or a camper van, it would have been different. Just pull up and park it, open it up, and relax and do what I had to do. But the camping experience was turning out to be a bit of a nightmare. So I put the tent up. I hadn't unloaded the car or anything, and I sat down in the chair, had a bit of a deep think, and said, no, not going to do this. So from there, I went into town, Cairns, and found a motel, checked myself in, went inside the room, relaxed for an hour or so, and I said, look, I better go back and pick up my tent, otherwise the tent owners might report me. So anyway, I went back and pulled the tent down and put it back in the car. So it was a bit of a stressful moment, and I spoke to a number of close people to me. But the most important bit of if you like consolation or supporting words came from my friend Linton. He basically says, Surrender, don't stress yourself. Sometimes you just have to be kind to yourself. And on reflection, that's what I did. I said, why should I punish myself? I'm not trying to prove anything here. And if I want to continue this journey, I've only done 1/4 of the journey, so to speak. if I was going to continue the journey, I have to be kind to myself. And after that, the decision was made. In fact, just before uh, arriving near Catherine, I took all my camping, just a tent. I had a lot of gear that I kept with me, but just the tent and the cot. So the rest stop, I put it up there with a big sign, please help yourself. And my feeling was that maybe the person who picked it up, it was in a good condition. It wasn't cheap. It was a good condition. So I was hoping that some deserving person will pick it up and put it to good use. So that was a major reflective moment, because at that point, I almost felt like turning back. But then after being kind to myself, I decided, no, I can do this. And I really am grateful to all of you who have supported the expedition and helped me reduce the cost of my motel. And that led to a successful conclusion of the journey. So thank you. Townsville. So here I am now in Townsville. Now is the end of the eastern part of the journey. I'm all the way up to Cairns. And now comes the most exciting and probably part of the journey which I've not done before. Because all the way up to Cairns and so on, we've driven up and down. We've flown up to Cairns. So we're familiar with the place. Looks familiar. So I look forward to sharing with you the next journey, which will take me across some of the most desolate parts of Australia, towards Mount Isa, and then on to towards Catherine, and then up to Darwin. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.